Joining us now to discuss is the Speaker of the House, Republican Congressman Mike Johnson of Louisiana. Speaker Johnson, thanks for joining us. So Democrats have said they want these needs, demands related to health care met before they vote to reopen the government. And we've obviously been hearing that negotiations are not happening between Democrats and Republicans in party leadership. Are you speaking with Democrats about, at the very minimum, any sort of concrete promise on holding a vote on Obamacare subsidies?
They're putting the cart before the horse. This is a big distraction for political purposes. We've been explaining this over and over. What we put on the floor and what we passed through the House, what is currently on the Senate floor, has now failed many times, as you said, 6 times now, is a simple CR. This is so important, Jake, because there's nothing to this. It's 24 pages in length. It is the bare minimum, bare bones document to keep the lights on so that Republicans and Democrats in the House and Senate can continue their discussions, deliberations, and negotiations on health care and everything else. This is nothing unusual. It is very conventional. It is exactly the same product that Chuck Schumer himself voted for triumphantly in March of this year and gave an impassioned speech on the floor and said it was the right thing to do, and he knew it was the right thing to do. The only thing that's changed between now and then is that it is his political calculation. He's afraid he's going to get a challenge from his left flank in his Senate re-election bid, and he's holding the American people hostage because of it. Plain and simple.
But isn't the continuing resolution that he voted for in March before the One Big Beautiful Bill Act passed, so it didn't contain the cuts to Medicaid or the reductions and increases to Medicaid? Isn't that right?
Jake, we didn't cut Medicaid.
I said reductions and increase.
Well, you said cut. We didn't cut Medicaid. We reformed it. We cut out fraud, waste, and abuse. Medicaid spending continues to go up, and it will. We just reduced the growth of Medicaid because we got ineligible recipients off of it. That was really important because the resources are being drained for the people that it's intended for. U.S. citizens who are the disabled, the elderly, or young pregnant women who are in difficult situations, for example. It was not for able-bodied workers, and it was not for illegal aliens. Chuck Schumer filed a counter-proposal, continuing resolution, that wants to add back $200 billion of hard-earned taxpayer funds to float illegal aliens, non-citizens who would be back on the program. We're not doing that. They wanted to add $1.5 trillion in new spending to a simple 7-week stopgap measure that has been done as many as 13 times, by the way, during the Biden administration when all the Democrats voted for it. 99% of them voted for it. Suddenly they won't now because they need a political issue to debate. Plain and simple, that's exactly what's going on here.
So we've talked about this before on the show. What you're referring to is the reduction in emergency Medicaid payments to hospitals. I think it's like 1% of that goes to undocumented immigrants. But it is true that some does go to undocumented immigrants.
Well, that's one of 6 categories.
Right. I wasn't done. And then there are also the non-citizens that were covered by TPS, the Haitians and others, asylum seekers, that had Medicare and Medicare access, Medicaid and Medicare access, and now don't after the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. But the main pieces of the Democrats' ask is this extension to Obamacare subsidies. And at least that's what they emphasize. And even a member of your own party, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, she's breaking with the Republican view on whether or not this is an urgent need. Take a listen.
When people are working paycheck to paycheck, they can't make ends meet, and we're looking at a massive spike in health insurance premiums. It's going to crush people. They're going to have to drop their health insurance, and that could put a lot of people in danger. Their taxpayer dollars fund our paychecks. They fund the entire government, and I believe the American people deserve better.
So in your home state of Louisiana, Obamacare marketplace enrollment has grown by 234% since 2020, according to KFF. The subsidies were enacted in 2021 during COVID. They seem to be popular in nonpartisan polling. If this did come up for a vote, how many House Republicans do you think would vote to extend the Obamacare subsidies?
None of us can project a vote outcome on an issue that has not been fully debated and argued here. This is a deliberative body. We're going to handle this issue like we do every other. Those subsidies are part of a broken system. Obamacare is not working for everybody. The premiums have gone up 60% since 2010 when it was supposed to reduce costs. When the government subsidizes something, it shows that it is not working. So there are real reforms that would have to be included before that is something that could pass off the House floor. The point is, Jake, that is a December 31 policy issue. The Democrats have globbed onto it because they're trying to pretend that that has something to do with the September 30th end of the fiscal year continuing resolution to keep the lights on.
But doesn't open enrollment start November 1st?
So we can have those debates.
Doesn't open enrollment start at the end of this month, November 1st?
Some insurance companies will send out notices and all of that in November. That's right. And that's why the Democrats are so wrong to close this government and burn up the time in October, because this was always intended to be a very important period for R's and D's in both chambers to work through this stuff. They're the ones preventing that from happening. And they've closed the government for no reason, and real Americans are being harmed. As you noted at the outset of the program, the troops are about to miss a paycheck on October 15th. TSA agents, Border Patrol agents, the people who are working every day and sacrificing their own safety to provide safety for others will not be paid because Chuck Schumer and 43 of his colleagues, Senate Democrats, are playing games. The House passed the bill. The Senate Republicans have passed the bill. The president supports it. Republicans are voting to open the government, and Democrats are keeping it closed.
When are you going to bring the House back in session?
There is nothing for the House to do at this moment because they've shut the government down. As soon as Chuck Schumer decides to stop playing games, we'll bring everybody back here and get right back to regular session. That's a very important thing. We have a lot of end-of-the-year business to do, among them all these health care questions. But we've got to get everybody back in the building working, and we can't do it when the government's shut down. It's wrong. And real people are being affected.
Yesterday, a White House memo raised questions about whether federal workers are going to receive back pay as they continue to work. Air traffic controllers, members of the military, the like. You and Leader Thune both told reporters that you supported them getting back pay, but then President Trump said this. Take a listen.
It really depends on who you're talking about. But for the most part, we're going to take care of our people. There are some people that really don't deserve to be taken care of, and we'll take care of them in a different way.
What does that mean?
I haven't talked to the President about the details of that. He is getting some legal analysis and advice that others are looking into this and questioning whether all furloughed federal employees should receive back pay. That's always been the way it's done. That's always been my understanding of the way the law should apply. And I know for a fact the President does not want any federal employee to be harmed in any way by the Democrats' political shenanigans. He said that repeatedly and emphasized that repeatedly. Now, are there areas of the federal government that are wasteful and that there's still fraud and that they're inefficient and ineffective? Of course. And a shutdown provides an opportunity to review those things with a different lens. But I'm not sure exactly which areas he's referring to or which he's talking about. But I know there's a lot of great Americans who work for the federal government, serve in these agencies, provide essential services for the American people, and they should not be pawns in a political game, and we're going to make sure of that.
So you obviously had a run-in with two Democratic senators from Arizona today over the delayed swearing in of Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva from Arizona. She says as soon as she's sworn in, she'll be the final signature on the discharge petition that will force onto the floor a vote to release all the Epstein files. Then that would go to the Senate. Here's what Senator Ruben Gallego told CNN when he accused you of delaying. Take a listen.
Mike Johnson wants to do two things. Number one, cover up for pedophiles on the Epstein list. And number two, put his members in a really rough position when it comes to voting and extending these ACA tax credits.
A few weeks ago, you said that Congresswoman-elect Grijalva would be sworn in once the House was back in session. But now I believe I heard you say to those senators that you'll swear her in once the government is reopened. Am I right? Did you change your terms there?
No, I didn't change my terms. You can look at that video, play it back in slow-mo, watch Ruben Gallego's body language. He's folding his arms. He's very uncomfortable because he's not telling you the truth. This doesn't have anything whatsoever to do with Epstein. They try to make everything about Epstein. This is about the House not being in regular session because the Democrats in the Senate have decided to shut everything down. We will swear Rep-elect Grijalva in as soon as we get back to regular session. They tried to claim, and that's why I walked outside my office and saw their publicity stunt in front of my office, and I was happy to have the dialogue with them and point out the truth. They said, oh, well, you did this for two new representatives from Florida a couple months ago. We did, but it was a very different situation. They had been previously noticed for their day of their oath of office ceremony. They flew all their friends and family in for this big event, but the House went out of session without any prior notice. They were all here, so we just had an exception, and we administered the oath to both of those folks. There has been no previous date scheduled for Rep-elect Grijalva Florida because she was elected after the House went out of session.
Yeah, I don't
It's
understand
apples
why
and
you're not.
oranges.
But I don't understand why you're not calling the House back in session. There's going to, once the government reopens, there's going to be so much work to be done. Not just a vote potentially on these Obamacare subsidies that Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to vote for, but also all the end-of-year business. I don't know why the air traffic controllers are working without salaries. You guys get paid during a government shutdown.
Well, no, Republicans have sent letters in, and we're waiving our salary, so we're in the same situation as every other federal employee. But here's the point. The members are working right now. They're working in their districts, and they're doing very important work, Republicans anyway. I don't know what the Democrats are doing, but the Republicans are going around, for example, to their rural hospitals in their districts and trying to help those folks navigate through to make access of the $50 billion that we set aside in a big fund to prop them up. Guess what? Chuck Schumer's counterproposal for the CR would cut all of that funding. There's a lot to navigate. They're doing very important work in the districts, and the ongoing discussions and deliberations about the end of the year matters is going on in earnest right now. And that's also between Republicans and Democrats. They don't have to be here in the building and on the floor. There's nothing to do on the floor until Chuck Schumer opens the government up again. And this pain will go on for Americans until he decides to do that.
But there could be, I'm sure they're doing important work back in their districts, most of them, but I mean, there could be the work of legislating. Like, I mean, that's important work.
Yes, but we can't get back to legislating while the legislative sessions have been stalled because they're playing games over government funding. It is an absurd situation, and it's unprecedented. There's never been a situation like this where there was a clean CR and one party was trying to play games over it. That usually these are loaded up with partisan priorities. We didn't do that. Republicans are operating in good faith. We sent over a totally clean CR. Again, it was the same one that Chuck Schumer and the Democrats voted for as recently as March of this year. There is no reason whatsoever for them to do this except that they're playing games. There's only one viable option on the table to get the government reopened, and it's the clean CR. We're not asking them to do anything heroic. We're asking them to do their basic jobs.
CR, for those listening, it stands for Continuing Resolution. It's the funding of the government. Speaker Mike Johnson, thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jake.
Later.